we go on Capital One Bowl Week from beautiful downtown Orlando. It's the 2003 Mazda Tangerine Bowl, the first bowl game for the teams from the BCS leagues. 7-5 North Carolina State from the ACC, Kansas 6-6 out of the Big 12. Slightly overcast, little wind, but it's a perfect night. We never say it rains in Orlando.
No.
Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Dr. Jerry Punch joins us in a little bit. Well, guys, in 20 years, when people talk about North Carolina State football at the turn of the century, they're going to refer to these 4 years as the Philip Rivers era. It comes to an end tonight. And Kirk, this is a guy we've seen plenty of times on Thursday nights. What a great person and what a great accomplishment in his 4 years.
You know, it seems like it was just the other day at the Indiana game with Philip Rivers going up against Antoine Randall, but what an unbelievable career. You think about what he's been able to accomplish throughout the 4 years. But this year, I know Philip Rivers and I know North Carolina State didn't get on the national scene because of some key losses, but he stepped up in big games against Ohio State and also against Florida State. And think about this. In the 4 years that he started at North Carolina State, he averaged close to 9 wins per year in Raleigh. That says all you need to know about his accomplishments and what he did at NC State.
Could you imagine what he would have done this year with a defense?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, you're talking about defense. North Carolina State's defense is 116th out of 117 on pass defense. Not good. Kansas should be able to score with Bill Whittemore. You know, he's one of the best run-pass quarterbacks that no one's seen in college football this year. But, you know, they got a potent offense at Kansas. They average 29 points a game in the Big 12. They're 6-2 when he starts at quarterback. If he plays, they got a chance to win. When he got hurt, they lost 3 straight games without him there. Bill Whittemore. Oh, yeah.
Lots of points. I think Kansas got a chance to score with him.
Mark Mangino, he was an assistant for Bill Snyder at Kansas State, for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, from 2-10 to 6-6 in a bowl game. Chuck Amato, 4 years at NC State, 4th bowl game. Kansas won the toss, deferred to the second half. It belongs to NC State as we get going at the Mazda Tangerine Bowl. A kickoff return for A.J. Davis out at the 35-yard line. So Jerry Punch for the 51st and final time. Philip Rivers leads NC State on the field.
And Michael Chuckamara said there's no way you can put a price on the value Philip Rivers has had of this NC State program. His records on the field speak for themselves, but he's been even more impressive off the field. As an 18-year-old freshman, he phoned his mother every Sunday just to tell her he loved her. As a sophomore, he married his high school sweetheart, Tiffany. As a junior, they welcomed their first child, a daughter named Hallie. He's a loving son, devoted husband and father who firmly believes those are the awards in life that make a difference. What a special, special young man.
ACC Player of the Year. We'll talk more about him as the night goes on. Opening drive starts from the 36. It's a reverse to Tremaine Hall. Got a block from his backup tight end, Richard, and picked up a first down close to midfield. So Hall, the good game on first down. As Mark and Trev were talking in the studio, T.A. McClendon is healthy. That could be a difference in this NC State offense. He's good. Jericho Cotchery could become the all-time leading pass catcher at NC State tonight. Also on the Mazda starting lineups, up front, they've had some injury moves. John McKee in the right guard. He's in there because Ricky Fowler is out. You want the best of the bunch? 54. Attack Sean Locklear, the senior, was first team All-ACC this year. After an 11-yard pickup, first down from the 47. They fake the play they ran on the opening play, and Rivers passes to McClendon across midfield. Bumped down at the 46, gain of about 7. Jonathan Lamb on the tackle. Here's the Kansas defense, gave up 28 points per game. 3 seniors start up front. David McMillan may be the best of this 4. One player who doesn't start, Travis Watkins, we'll see a lot of. 3 linebackers, all sophomores, strength of the defense. Toomey in the middle is the heart and soul. Watch number 1 if you want to see the passion tonight. Corners got issues over here. Charles Gordon, see him? He's the top pass catcher. Moved over to defensive back 3 games ago. Remus Johnson on the other corner. Those 2 guys are going to have their hands full tonight. Officially a pickup of 8, so this is 2nd and 2, and Rivers up top for Washington. Touchdown! Richard Washington. And just like that, it begins for the Pack.
Well, minute 2.
Well, that's right.
Minute 2 seconds, 3 plays. Kansas plays zone on 3 straight plays, trying to be very conservative, trying to avoid the big play.
Yeah.
And 3rd play, 45-yard touchdown pass to Washington, getting behind zone coverage.
Well, offensive coordinator Neil Monzoni lied to us. He said they weren't going to run. They ran 1.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
Throwing that little trickery there in their first play.
And then boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, I have a feeling Phillip might throw for a few yards tonight.
Yep.
Adam Kiker, the senior kicker, is on for the extra point. Out of the snap of Danny Young and the hold of Chris Young in 62 seconds. Welcome back to the bowl season, Kansas. Philip Rivers up top to Richard Washington. First touchdown catch of the year for Washington. It's 7-0.
Don't go away now.
Took a buck two for Philip Rivers and the Wolfpack to go on top.
I think he's sweating there.
Yeah, I don't know.
A little bit maybe?
Might be just damp.
Just from warming up. But and when you rush 3 and you drop 8, you want to make sure that you don't give up the big play behind. Gordon, Mike, you talked about he's a receiver, and he's moved over to help them in the latter part of the season, and he's made some good plays, but there, Washington got right behind him, and Philip Rivers put it right on the money.
Although they only rushed 3, I tell you what, that Derek Thomas and Sean Locklear did a nice job at the tackles.
Adam Kiker doing the kickoffs here tonight in the hands of John Randall, who took it across the 20s, brought down at the 26-yard line. And Freddie Autry-Lindsey made the tackle. So Rivers has put up 7. Let's see what the man on the other side can do. The Kansas quarterback, he's a senior as well. Bill Whittemore playing his final game. As Lee mentioned, when he was healthy, this team's offense was good. That's when they won all their games. He got hurt in the Kansas State game. They lost that game and the subsequent 3. He came back for the season finale, a 36-7 win over Iowa State. Senior, 3 schools in 4 years. Every season with an injury, gets a chance to close it out here in a bowl game. The 6-footer, the first down handoff to Clark Green. Only gets out back to the line of scrimmage. John McCargo in on the tackle. So behind Whittemore, handling the ball is Green, who averages 20 touches a game. See the guy in the middle there, Simmons? He's their game-breaking threat. Gordon, the other wide receiver, is the one who starts over on the defensive side as well. Up front, this is a lunch bunch, a lunch pail bunch. Vaughn in the middle, the center. Big 12 offensive newcomer of the year. That's pretty tough to do as a center. He did. This pass is caught by Brandon Rideau. Off he goes to the 45-yard line. A.J. Davis made the tackle against the second worst pass defense in America. Only Stanford gave up more pass defense yards. Look at the guys across the front. Manny Lawson, a linebacker, starts as the defensive end tonight because of a team suspension. Autry-Lindsey, Hoyt, and Thomas among the best tacklers. In the secondary, Greg Golden, their starting cornerback, a junior, not here, sent home. Thus, Devontae Edwards has to step up with Reed on the corners. Andre Maddox is their top tackler. Clark Green carries out to the 47, 2nd and 8 coming up. Kansas is not on TV a lot. Kurt, give me a feel for what they like to do on offense.
Because of the versatility, if you know Mark Mangino's offense, you go back to the years at Kansas State with Michael Bishop, Jonathan Beasley. Then he developed with Mike Leach in Norman, Oklahoma with Bob Stoops. When Mike Leach went to Texas Tech, he continued to add a little bit to it. It's going to be the spread offense, and he has a quarterback who is versatile. He can run and he can throw, and they try to take advantage of spreading the field and take advantage of his versatility.
Green had a couple of blockers. He got it out to midfield. We're going to have 3rd and 5 coming up. Well, if you didn't follow Kansas in their 6-6 season, after 2-10 last year, they were 3-5 in the Big 12, 3-1 out of the league. Their best win of this season, you see the loss to Colorado, a tough one. Their best victory of the season, you would have to say, came when they beat Missouri, 35-14. Their in-state rival and a good Missouri team. A huge win for this program. That red line will be in there when we have 3rd down, so you can see the line of scrimmage. To get the first down at the 45, it's Rideau again, and he has about 11 yards.
That was a very, very good call that time by the offensive coach, because what they did is they brought that quick post because they can't get good pass protection. I like fact that Whitmore gets the ball quickly out of his hands, Kurt.
Yep, and Mark Mangino told us that they're going to move some people around. That time, 3 receivers off to the right, 1 receiver isolated back to the boundary, and took advantage of one-on-one coverage to Rideau and man-to-man coverage. Nice throw there by Whittemore.
Same look here, bud.
Yeah.
3 receivers down by us, 1 up top, and they go up top. Same place. It's Rideau. It's another first down. Kirk, what does that do? 3 on one side and 1 into the boundary.
Well, what he's trying to do there is because North Carolina State plays a lot of man coverage and a lot of pressure, it forces them to tip their hand and showing what they're doing. It's helping Bill Whittemore as a quarterback look into the eyes of the defense and have a feel for what they're doing. And it gives him a pre-snap read. That way, by the time he calls his cadence, he knows where he wants to go with the football. Back-to-back times, here they come a third time. Don't be shocked to see him now come to the field with the 3 receivers on.
North Carolina State needs to change that one-on-one coverage to the short field or they're in trouble.
Fake the handoff back to this side. Up top and incomplete. Had 2 receivers down there, Moderick Johnson and Mark Simmons. It was Simmons who had a step and a little separation.
And remember, with North Carolina State, this is a team that early in the year, Marcus Hudson was lost to academic eligibility. He was a freshman last year, would have been a great player this year. They haven't had him all year. Greg Golden is not playing in his football game. He's been suspended. So you're dealing with an area that when they leave them alone out there by themselves on an island, you're really rolling the dice if you're Chuck Amato.
This is 2nd and 10. Kansas opening drive of the game. Fake to the fullback, option to Clark Green, who is hustled out of bounds at the 23. We're going to have third and about a half dozen coming up. Freddie Autry-Lindsay over there.
It's the next phase with a ton of man coverage and a quarterback who can run and a tailback who likes to get down and run downhill. You're going to see that Kansas will take advantage of that. They're going to attack the outside, try to pitch it, and now you have those receivers running the secondary off. Now you have a back who's running downfield.
And remember one thing about North Carolina State's defense, 0 seniors. Very young football team. They got to make some quick adjustments.
They come back to the 3 to 1 side, 1 to the boundary, wide open. Charles Gordon, he's at the 10, he's at the 5. Get me a calculator. We're going to have a lot of points here tonight. Touchdown, KU. I feel like I'm at Allen Fieldhouse. A 23-yard pass from Whittemore. Johnny Beck, junior kicker out of KCK, Kansas City, Kansas. One kicker, Jared Brooks is the other, and Brooks comes on to add this extra point. All square at 7. Whittemore very good in that drive, guys. He was 4 of 5 for 66 yards.
And it's very, very important for a football team that's 6-6 to answer the heavy favorite. And they did, Kirk.
Yep, NC State with a lot of pressure on that first series, a lot of man coverage. They brought Maddox to safety, and they left Gordon all by himself. Nice recognition there by Whittemore to get him the football.
Johnny Beck's kickoff, A.J. Davis on the return. Nice returns to the near side for the 2nd time. He's out to the 31. Jerome Kemp on the tackle. Lee takes us back to the touchdown. One
of the reasons why this is a touchdown, watch Whittemore right here. And number 95, Martin's going to hit him right in the left arm. And he throws the ball under pressure. Watch, boom. Now, as soon as the play is over, you'll watch him. He grabs his left arm as we were watching him. Remember, this kid's been hurt a lot. Hopefully he didn't get hurt on that one. But, boy, that was a nice,
tough guy.
Tough guy, boy.
Very competitive.
Very competitive.
He's not going to back down. NC State, I'll tell you what, went right down in 3 plays. Kansas came right back. They showed a lot of heart there on that drive.
NC State's turn to respond. Drive start at the 32. Rivers has 5 options and a lot of green grass. Got a block and got a first down at the 44. Tremaine Hall, the receiver, came back through the legal block that picked up a dozen yards.
Picked up 2 guys. He absolutely knocked 2 guys down, Kirk. You guys see that?
Yep.
Beautiful comeback by Tremaine Hall. Watch him. You keep your eye on number 21. In the left part of your picture, you guys watch this. Keep your eye on this.
What I love is as soon as he sees his quarterback needs help,
he goes, 1, 2.
Knocked out the 2nd guy. But he was sizing him up.
It's like bowling ball.
That's right.
Nick Reed, the sophomore linebacker, was the man he got first. Rivers runs for a dozen. From the 43, he tosses to McClendon. Stumbles and gets just a yard. T.A. McClendon, over 1,000 yards last year as a freshman. The difference maker for this NC State pass-oriented offense. This year, he only added 536 yards, but he was really never healthy. Here's what you need to know about him. 7 games when he's run for 100 yards, they're 7-0.
Well, that's the missing link for this offense. When you put in a healthy T.A. McClendon to go with the mind of Philip Rivers and his philosophy of this offense, it's nearly impossible to stop it when they're hitting on all cylinders, and he is healthy tonight.
After a pickup of 1, 2nd and 9. Kachuri yet to catch a pass. Taken away. They throw to the fullback, Chance Moyer, who dropped it. It was nearly intercepted. Moyer, who's a country singer in his away from football time, caught the only ball that was thrown his way all year for a 3-yard touchdown against Virginia.
Well, this time he started to look up the field, thinking about how much more room do I have to go to pick up a first down, and he's lucky that by missing that Floodman didn't pick that off.
3rd and 9. Red line, line of scrimmage. Yellow line, first down. Kansas rushes 5. Rivers pass is caught by Kachuri, first down at the 43. Jericho Kachuri, chance tonight to become the all-time leading pass catcher in NC State history. He got 13 there.
In a year of the receiver in college football, here's a guy that doesn't get the appreciation that he should. He's going to be one of those guys that plays at the next level for 10 or 11 years as a 3rd receiver or a 2nd receiver and has a phenomenal career. Philip Rivers told me yesterday, he said, you know, for a guy that's been around, he said, the coaches talk about how every drill, every sprint, every pass he catches, 100% effort, and takes it beyond where he's supposed to go. He's a great player.
First down, fake McClendon. Come back to Kachuri. Got a block. Made a man miss. First down at the 28. The Kansas coaching staff wanted a flag on Sean Locklear, the left tackle. They felt he pushed in the back on Charles Gordon, the cornerback who caught the touchdown earlier.
Here, now they're showing their own style of having trips to the field. They're going to motion over Kachuri. Now he's just going to use him a little bit as a decoy and set up the screen. And now he shows what he can do in the open field. But something to remember, which is very rare, when you have a 4-year starting quarterback who's played 50 times, Noel Mazzoni said if we score in the first series, Philip Rivers will call the plays in the next series. So if he's calling these plays, he's off to a pretty good start.
McClendon after the fake toss, bouncing to the outside. Inside the 20 and out of bounds at the 15. Have they run a play where they've gained less than 10 yards? That one was 14. And another first down.
That's a perfect example of T.A. McClendon healthy. He breaks tackles. He's 5'11", 215 pounds. And what I like about him the most is he has a low center of gravity, and then he keeps going. I thought as a freshman, and I said this before, I thought he was a better running back than Maurice Clarett at Ohio State. I know people don't think that, but when this guy's healthy, wonderful football player, Mike.
Great balance.
NC State has run 9 plays tonight. 6 of them have gotten over 10 yards. They're averaging 13 a play. They need 15 for a touchdown. Rivers now throws. There's 15. There's a touchdown, number 2 for Richard Washington.
I want you to remember now, Philip Rivers called those plays. Not only does he have a future in the NFL, he has a future as an offensive coordinator. Outstanding drive, because this is not very common for him to have the reins. And I don't mean like check with me at the line of scrimmage. I mean call the formation, call the play, buy enough time there, finds Richard Washington all alone. That's where the area where he's improved the most. Buying the time and throwing it downfield.
If people haven't seen him before, he's a lot quicker than people think. He's got good movement and good athletic ability to get away from the pass rush. That was a perfect example of Philip Rivers' athletic ability to get open and throw that football.
A penalty marker thrown as we lined up. I think Kansas has 12 on the field.
Illegal substitution on the defense. 12 men on the field.
They should have had 12 in the play before this, not on the extra point.
Just on defense.
I mean,
the whole half.
They might need 13.
Now the good news is Bill Whittemore and the boys are about to come back out.
And North Carolina State is 116 out of 117 teams in the pass defense.
Yep, they're off to a solid start tonight. 66 yards in the first drive they gave up.
Adam Kiker adds the extra point. 6:17 gone by. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Rivers has 2 of them. 14-7, not even halfway through the first quarter. A lot of offense thus far in the Mazda Tangerine Bowl. 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns. NC State leading 14-7 here in Orlando. The Wolfpack have had it for 10 plays and 3 minutes. They have 132 yards and 14 points. First down, Phillip Rivers. Rolls away to gain about a yard or so. Corey Kipp ran him out. Guys, when we first saw Phillip Rivers back in his freshman year, he was a true freshman from Athens, Alabama, Auburn and Alabama country. He's had great postseason games, on his way to another one here tonight. He was kind of tall, lanky. It didn't really look like he was a great athlete, but boy, he has gotten stronger, taken better care of his body, and has at 6'5" the frame that he's developed into a better athlete here over the last couple of years. Certainly ready for the NFL next year. 2nd and 8. That hair trigger release to Richard Washington, who's been a very busy man. 2 touchdowns already tonight.
Yeah, because he's a little unconventional with his delivery, I think it's been a knock on him. I think people have looked at him and questioned whether or not he has the arm strength. A lot of times I've heard people say he's a Danny Werfel type of guy because he's a guy who's very accurate and he'll put the ball down on the money. But I think, as Mike, as you said, he has changed right before our eyes in these last 3 or 4 years. Like everybody, he's become more physical. He's become quicker. His release has become more quicker. And I think his arm is a lot stronger this year than it was in his previous 3 years.
3rd and a couple. 5 options to throw. Flag comes down as Potchery picked up the first down at the 28. If it stands at 17 yards, let's see what the call is.
17 yards hurt his average?
Rivers?
Yeah.
No, that'll help it.
That'll help,
Yeah.
okay.
7 for 8 for 117.
Okay.
It's on Kansas.
Holding on the defense. Penalty decline. First down.
You know, after Phillip threw for 422 yards and 4 touchdowns in that 50-44 overtime loss against Florida State, Bobby Bowden said this, quote, Phillip Rivers is the best football player in the nation, period. Now, that was one hell of a compliment on Phillip Rivers from Bobby Bowden, the winningest coach in the history of college football Division I.
And, you know, Lee, there are a lot of people who are out there who are North Carolina State fans to say he should have been at the Heisman, he should have been the best player. You know what? If they would have won a few more games along the way, I think everybody else would agree with Bobby Bowden's statement.
What a throw there. Is that caught? Yes, that's Potchery. That is his 4th on the night at pickup 13. He is 1 catch away from a record mark at North Carolina State.
You're also seeing a different Phillip Rivers this year because they've moved him around a lot more. This goes back to what we talked about, how hard he's worked on his body and trying to become quicker. Look at the bootlegs. Noel Malzone, who was the offensive coordinator at Mississippi with Tommy Tuberville and in Auburn as well, has brought this package in to go along with what Norm Chow and Mike Canales did last year. And I think you're seeing them exploit and take advantage of a completely different style quarterback now in Phillip Rivers.
McClendon runs up the middle, gets out to the 46-yard line. Pickup of about 6. Jerry Punch, Jericho Cotchery closing in on a record.
Indeed he is, Michael. You know, they call him J-Co, but his initials, he should be called J-Clutch. He entered tonight with 187 career receptions, and what a clutch receiver. 123 of those were for first downs or touchdowns. 58, a third of his total receptions for his career were third down conversions. He is definitely Mr. Clutch. He needed 4 to come in tonight to tie Torrey Holt, the great receiver in the NFL, and he has now tied Torrey. The next catch, he becomes the all-time record holder at NC State Wolfpack history.
Might come here. 2nd and 4. Play pass. Rivers throws. Oh, it almost came there. They got to Rivers and hit him. Banks Floodman, the linebacker, knocked down Rivers, and NC State will face 3rd and 4.
It's the first time Kansas brought pressure, and they finally got to Phillip Rivers. You see the linebackers are coming, and this is what it takes. Floodman not giving up. coming right through that fake reverse and getting the pressure on Phillip Rivers. Otherwise, that's another big completion for North Carolina State.
And that Frank Spludman is a captain and only a sophomore on the football team. That's quite an honor right there.
4 yards distance between the red line and the yellow line. Rivers, first down to the 43-yard line for Tremaine Hall.
See, now, and I understand it's third down, but it's not third and 12 or 15. They're going to rush 3 and drop 8. And Phillip Rivers is too accurate, and you're giving him too much time. Eventually, his receivers get into the bubble, and Rivers is going to anticipate it and put it right in the hole.
They go very quick. Toss to Hall out of the backfield. Got a block. A couple of yards shy of the first down. Pickup of 8 for Tremaine, who carried it 33 times this year. He touched it 125 times a game. So he averaged about 100 yards each of the 12 Wolfpack games.
I think Tremaine Hall has been a player that's helped this offense because of the inconsistencies with T.A. McClendon and all the injuries. Hall's been a guy you can line up at receiver, you can line him up in the backfield. And this is an offense that I think's tried to take advantage of his versatility as well.
They're going no huddle here. Keep Kansas from their substitutions. Quarterback draw with Rivers. Out to the 28-yard line. That gets him a first down. Here's the 2:09 mark. Play action for Rivers on first down. Looking down the middle. It's caught by T.J. Williams, the tight end. Takes it inside the 2. It'll be first and goal for State.
I think Phillip Rivers is feeling it right about now. It's one thing to have guys open. It's another thing to put the ball right on the money every single time. And this is a great route here by Williams. Fakes to the inside, completely loses Tony Stubbs, the safety. And they're very, very lucky that that didn't go all the way for a touchdown.
That T.J. Williams, 6'4", 236, and moved like an inside receiver.
Yep.
Phillip Rivers understands offense as well as any other quarterback in the nation.
Funny huddle. They kept it in the middle and sneak it in for the touchdown. So NC State threw the hard curve there and snapped it to McClendon, who picks up his 8th rushing touchdown of the year. It is 20-7. It was almost like there were 2 quarterbacks on the play in the formation.
That's a play they put in for the bowl game. See that? Amato learned that from Bobby Bowden. Always put in gimmick plays in the bowl game because kids love it.
He snaps it to Rivers, and then T.A. McClendon's just hiding underneath the offensive line right behind him. He slipped it between his legs. What was that, the Florida State-Clemson game? Back in
Pondruski.
Yeah. Which is no longer legal.
No longer legal.
That's right.
So now we just do it with the fullback.
Hiker the extra point. That was an 11-play, 97-yard drive. North Carolina State has 229 yards in 3 possessions. Look at this. Who's the quarterback? There's Rivers between the legs to McClendon. NC State Hoop fans love that pass. Well, Chris Young, the holder. It's all teamwork when you miss a field goal, and maybe Young was the guy responsible there.
Well, you're supposed to hold the ball with one finger. See, he's got his hand over there, but that's no excuse. Look, there's enough football there to kick it. He tilted the ball right, and here.
Laces out.
Watch, now watch the kicker.
He wasn't very happy.
No, he wasn't very happy.
Whittemore, the quarterback. The first down toss is Gordon. Made a man miss. And got it out to midfield.
Okay, good.
Charles Gordon, very good there. A pickup of 27 yards.
You know, we're talking up here, but you know the interesting thing to me? It's only 21-7.
Yeah,
it is.
It should be like 58-2, the way it looks like Florida, North Carolina State's moving the football. But I'll tell you what, they're back in it.
Kansas they're throwing the football. I mean, they're having some success. That last sequence of plays really hurt.
The team in white is 116 out of 117.
Their offense is ridiculous. But the NC State defense, they'll keep Kansas around.
Gordon shake it up on the play. First and 10. Option with the other freshman, John Randall, the shiftier of the running backs, was pulled out of bounds. Back at the 48, where he was dragged out. Well, let's take a look at our AOL rushing matchup for the season. The little yellow guy running the ball there. NC State 49th in the nation. Kansas in the bottom quadrant in terms of rushing.
If I'm Kansas, I'm just going to run, continue to sit back in that shotgun with Whittemore, mix in an occasional option against a man coverage, and then throw all day one-on-one against these defensive backs.
2nd and 8. Whittemore sees pressure. Nice job getting out of it. And he keeps playing. It looked like a loss of 5. Very much alive, and he'll have 3rd and about 4 yards coming up, and he again comes up limping. Oliver Hoyt made the tackle. Yeah, Mark Mangino told us this yesterday. Said it is full out. You think, boy, up, he's hurt. The guys and the coaches on the headset are saying, trainer, Whittemore's hurt. Guys, he's okay. He's hurt.
That's Chris Perry this year. Chris Perry had that in him.
You got an extra 15 seconds per play in the Ohio State game, right? When Michigan had the lead.
Trainers are running. They're halfway out now. He's back out. He's good.
3rd and 4 to keep this drive moving. Pass complete to Rideau. So Brandon Rideau out of Beaumont, Texas, 2nd on this team this year with 6 touchdown catches. It's a very active night. 5 grabs over 50 yards.
3 receivers to the field, 3rd down play. And as soon as Whittemore saw the man-to-man coverage, he looks the safety off to keep him on the hash just for a second, giving his receiver enough time to get off. Because I'll tell you, Lamont Reed did a good job of taking away the inside, and it took a little bit of time for Rideau to finally get in there, but Whittemore held on patiently and got him the football.
Good numbers for Whittemore. Option. He got hit, but got rid of it to Clark Green, who got it out to the 30 to pick up 3 yards. Mario Williams off the end had to stick on the quarterback. Then Autry Lindsay, the junior out of High Point, North Carolina, cleaned it up.
Remember, this Kansas offense averaged 29 points per game in the Big 12 conference. Pretty good football teams and defensively. And as long as Whittemore is healthy and being able, Kirk and Mike, to run the option, throw the inside stuff, and every once in a while a little draw, they got a chance to keep moving around it. Because North Carolina State is not a great defensive team, and that's being nice.
They'll move the ball all night tonight with this package and with this quarterback.
From the 30, it is 2nd down. A marker is down as Whittemore's throw for Gordon, who's back in the game, was high.
The problem is, can they score? I mean, they're going to move the football.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to punch it in and come up with 6 points.
Offside will make it 2nd and short. 2nd and 2. Whittemore has some room to run. Got there with the fake and got the 1st down. The use of the pump fake can be very effective, and it was there. Well, we talked about Capital One Bowl week. You'll see many Big 12 teams next Monday night, and that's at 9 o'clock Eastern. There's no Monday night football game next week, so settle in for your Monday night football with Michigan State and Nebraska in the MasterCard Alamo. Texas Tech plays Navy. Wazoo against Texas in the Pacific Life Holiday. You guys will have a great time out there in San Diego, as we have the last few years. Ole Miss will take on Oklahoma State, and then 2 teams in the Bowl Championship Series. K-State, Ohio State in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Oklahoma, LSU in the Nokia Sugar Bowl, the BCS title game. Option Clark Green inside the 15 to the 10-yard line. That's a pickup of 8 yards.
It's pretty obvious what Chuck Amato has told his defensive ends. If they see Whittemore, who's been banged up all year, coming on the option, take him out. And that's what Demario Williams is doing. But it works to the advantage because Whittemore is ready for that, delivers the pitch, and all of a sudden you pick up 8 yards by pitching it out to Clark Green against, again, man coverage on the perimeter.
Yeah, but it's a nice block by Charles Gordon. That kid is playing offense, defense, running, and everything else. He made the block that allowed that man to make that yardage. Good play, Charles Gordon, number 3.
Williams lines up to come at Whittemore again. In there on the run tackle as he gets to Clark Green with no gain on the play. Mario Williams, a freshman All-American, long arms, 6'7", 254. Started every game this year. Had 12 tackles for loss. And when you talk about the future being bright with young athletes up front, he's one of them. Probably the main one for Chuck Amato.
Freshman All-American, Sporting News again.
Yep, beautiful specimen. And they are young up front. They're only going to get better and better.
3rd and 2. in what has been a scoreless second quarter. Whittemore kept it on the option, and that play was well read and contained by James Martin. A little fourth down coming up.
You got to go for it.
No, I think you got to get some points, Kirk.
Points? I say
yeah, I think you got to get some points psychologically to cut it from a 14 to only 11.
You think they're going to stop Phillip Rivers?
No, but you got to get some points.
Back in the land of Mickey, here in Orlando, Jared Brooks on to try a 28-yard field goal. And after the 3 timeouts, 3 points, 21-10. NC State's lead 11, the first points of this second quarter. T.A. McClendon walking on the sideline after that injury. Take a look after the hit from Tony Stubbs. Just watch his ankles as Stubbs tries to bring down the big 215-pounder. McClendon.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, how many times have we seen T.A. McClendon in some kind of awkward position this year while getting tackled?
Don't be sorry, it's exactly what I was going to say.
Man.
3rd and 9, they need to get to the 26 for a first down. Kansas showing some different things to Rivers. Let's see what they bring. Bringing, staying. Little mix. They rush forward, they can't get there. The pass is caught by Clark, who has a first down and is inside the 15. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 13. Make it the 12-yard line.
Now the snap was low. Phillip Rivers, again, trying to buy some time here. And there's the zip on the football when he's able to settle in and get his feet underneath him. Puts it right in front of Clark and enough room there to pick up the first down.
Yeah, but you got to give the offensive linemen, Paulson, Harris, Locklear, McKeon, and their coach, Mike Berry, a lot of credit. That was a combination blitz, and they picked it up nicely.
McClendon back in the game. Rivers has hit his last 7 passes. Make it 8. To Kachary. Ball came out after he was down. A penalty marker's down. Back by Rivers. He was roughed. So take it from the 6 halfway to the goal. It'll be 1st and goal at the 3.
Roughing the passer on the defense. Half the distance to go. First down.
But guys, we had the Athletic Trivia question earlier. Now, the guys in the truck didn't want us to see this question this morning. They thought we'd have a tough time answering it. Come on, this is easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
We can do it in unison.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Nolan Cromwell. It's easier.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was an easy one.
What do they think?
No.
You think we're a minor league operation up here?
I thought that was a trick question because you guys were threatening me in the meeting this morning. Don't look.
They told me, don't look. You don't want to. We're
From the 4-yard line.
Come on.
1st and goal from the 4. Rivers play action. Comes back to McClendon. Touchdown. His 3rd pass of the night.
Pass complete to number 44, T.A. McClendon.
Well, let me tell you something. I admit when I'm wrong. I said they should get up there. Mangione made a great call by going for the field goal, but I'll tell you what I do the second half. No more field goals.
Thank you.
No more. I was wrong.
I mean, that's okay.
I mean, they can't stop nobody.
17's release for all of the people that are going to evaluate him between now and April. Please, we'll accept the awkward delivery and it's unorthodox, but don't question its quickness. He's got a quick release.
Adam Kiker adds the extra point, making it 28-10. McClendon catches a touchdown pass on that one. Rivers 8 of 8 on the drive. 21 of 24 for 3 touchdowns in the first half. Phillip Rivers is 21 of 24 for 268 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's been about as perfect. If you did his passer rating, it would be off the charts.
If you look at their offense, it's a clinic.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I mean, it's beautifully organized and orchestrated and called and everything.
I really think Noel Mazzoni needs to put this one away. Put this one in a vault. And well, Phillip's already kicking back. You put it in the vault, and when you want to go around and show people how to run offense, this might be the one you pull out.
From the 25 here with little time left, they run it with Clark Green. busting it up the middle to the 47-yard line. Remember all the timeouts they used in that situation to kick the field goal. They have one remaining that they take here with 32 seconds to go.
But see, that's not the time you use your time. If you got one left, you pick up a first down, you get up to the line of scrimmage.
That's unbelievable. 21 of 24. 268 and 3.
Mike, you said it perfectly. He should be the poster child for college football. Everything that is good about the sport is Philip Rivers.
Not a me attitude, a very team-oriented guy, family guy, as we mentioned. His dad, a coach. Lee, you've been watching this number here?
Oh, yeah. You guys stay there in the second half and watch this, because let me tell you something. He's going to break this record. They will keep him in until he gets 465. I don't care what the score is.
Now, Kansas might try to score here. If they try to get down the field with a long pass, I think we know who they're going to look for. Here's Whittemore up top. It's not Gordon, but it's almost caught by Mark Simmons. They almost hit the home run with the other deep threat down the field, Simmons. But the coverage was there from Victor Stevens, the nickelback.
It was there, but the receiver got behind him. There's under 30 seconds to go in the half. The last thing you want to let happen is for Mark Simmons, who's their best deep threat, to get behind you.
Yeah.
And that time, North Carolina State allowed him to get behind him, and it was good recovery by Victor Stevens. But get back. Get back, guys. The safeties need to get deeper.
2nd and 10, 25 seconds to go. Whittemore tries to get to the edge. He had time to throw it, but it was incomplete. Because of the pressure, he couldn't set up and get that one out to Gordon. We have 3rd and 10 with 21 seconds left.
Oh, this is a young North Carolina State defense. The next few years, they're going to get better and better. But I think the biggest thing that hurt North Carolina State this year is a lack of leadership with that youth. You didn't see that guy like Thunder Dan Burnett, Torrance Holt. They had so many leaders last year. Terrence Martin up front. Those guys aren't here anymore. And I think that hurt this team when it was crunch time in some of those bigger games this year.
Allen Holloway, Sheldon Lewin, a couple of veteran guys sent home from the bowl trip. That's where their leadership was. Screen to Green. Tracked down from behind. No timeouts left. It's 4th down. They're going to have to hustle here and throw the Hail Mary.
Down by Garland Heath.
Garland Heath with the play. Got to hustle, guys.
Yeah, shut her down.
Gonna shut her down for halftime?
Yep. Go for a field goal.
They don't have the length to make a field goal.
Just a little humor.
Philip Rivers, a great half, 268 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half. And here's Jerry with Chuck Amato.
Well, Coach, Philip Rivers and company putting on an offensive clinic here in the first half. There can't be anything that I can think of he's not pleased with offensively.
2 penalties down here on the goal line, which took us out of the score. We should have at least 3 more points. We can't. There it was in the red zone again, inside the 10-yard line. We come away with nothing.
How about defensively? Where do you look to slow them down? You've given up a lot of yards here on the defense in the first half.
They can have all those yards they want. They got 10 points on the board. If we hold them to 10 in the second half, guess what? We're going to win. We're going to win. They can get all that stuff in there. We're getting a feel for their game. We're overrun on a lot of things. I think we're not really taking advantage of what our speed is. But we got to get more heat on him.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot. Trying to get some pressure on Whittemore. And guys not satisfied with the offense in the first half.
Well, you saw it? The penalties in the red zone again?
Half number 2 of the 2003 Mazda Tangerine Bowl, and the final half for the seniors on both North Carolina State and Kansas, including Philip Rivers, who had about as good a half as a quarterback could imagine. Only 3 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, as NC State has taken a 28-10 lead into the locker room. And Kansas will get the ball first here in the second half. Jericho Cotchery in that first half became the all-time leading pass catcher in NC State history, passing Torrey Holt. State looking to win this bowl game for the 2nd time, even though it's been a different name. This was the Micron PC Bowl, the CarQuest Bowl, some other name of it. It was played in the Dolphin Stadium, but now it is the Mazda Tangerine Bowl. Here's Jerry. Doc?
Coach, what do you have to do in the second half to slow down this NC State offense?
Well, you know, we let them score 28 points in 12 minutes. That means we're making big plays in zone defense. We're letting them just lob the ball in the holes in the zone, and we're not contesting the ball. And when we're a man and doing some blitzing, you know, we're just not being effective in our blitzes. So we gotta keep at it and, you know, just keep fighting, keep slugging it out. And we've got to move the ball and get points in the end zone. We're moving the ball well, but we got to get in the end zone.
Thanks, Coach. All right, Michael?
Okay, Doc, thank you. Buck Mangino's been around some very good teams in Kansas State and Oklahoma. And the Kansas State situation, guys, is very similar to what KU faces here. You got to rebuild it because it's been so far down for so long, other than the couple of good years Glenn Mason had and our colleague Mike Gottfried back in the mid-'80s. Do you see the seeds here to turn this program around down the line?
Yes, I do, and I think they got the right man to do it. But I think also one thing, they've got to improve their facilities. Unless they recruit the top players and you get facilities, I think Kansas is going to have a hard time beating those Big 12 teams. They got to get better facilities.
Well, you're playing in the Big 12.
Oh,
you have
hello.
Texas and Oklahoma and A&M and Nebraska and even Kansas State right down the road who are trying to improve every single year. And if Kansas is serious about competing, you don't only go out and hire a coach who's going to help you turn the corner. You have to help him with resources in order to help in recruiting. You help in recruiting, you're going to have better personnel to go out and try to win games.
Let's see what they can do here at half number 2. Randall takes in the kickoff, and John tries to get to the outside. He's going to be brought down at the 21-yard line. So Phillip Rivers will have to stay loose and watch his defense try to get him back on the field. We'll check the ESPN game track. Presented by Bola Wines. Rivers 268 and 3. 2 of the touchdown passes to Washington in that first half. And as mentioned, only 3 incompletions. Meantime, NC State's defense, even though they gave up 243 yards, had a pick, the only turnover of the game, and held Kansas to just a field goal after that opening drive. So as Rivers warms, Whittemore brings him out and gives it to Charles Gordon. First down and out of bounds is a 34. Very close to a penalty marker as he was pushed out, but none was thrown. 14-yard gain. Add that to these T. Rowe Price first half stats. 27 plays of 10 yards or more in a first half that had 79 total plays.
Well, for both these defenses, it has been a long haul. We knew coming in that both offenses had a chance to move the football. Who was going to put it into the end zone? And so far, that has been NC State. See if Kansas can try to not only come up with yardage, but points here in the second half.
Whittemore's pass is deflected and incomplete. So tight coverage from A.J. Davis, who has the only turnover of the night. He intercepted Whittemore in that first half. You guys mentioned facilities for Kansas and trying to rebuild this program and turn it around. They've hired one of the best athletic directors in the country, Lou Perkins, who was the athletic director at the University of Connecticut, helped give their basketball program the foundation, men's and women's, to become national programs, and spearheaded the building of that new football stadium that they sold out up there in East Hartford this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, and UConn had a great season with a terrific coach in Randy Edsall. Whittemore keeps. He gets to the 40. We'll have 3rd and 5 coming up. And Lou has things in the works for Kansas football to try to get those facilities improved, to get the coaches out of Allen Fieldhouse, the great basketball arena, get themselves a football-only building. Because let's face it, in the Big 12, with those Taj Mahals that you have in Oklahoma and Texas and A&M and every place else, if you don't have it, like you said, Lee, the kids can't keep.
Mark Mangino told us he had nothing that was his own. He had to share everything. That's not good.
3rd and 4. They try the quick hit with Rideau. Made a couple of nice moves. He'll be just shy of the first down. They needed to get a half-yard more. Maurice Charles, the freshman defensive end, made the play. What do you want to do here, Coach?
Go. You got to go for it. Remember, I told you, no more field goals, no more punts. Well, now you have to because
you have to.
Yeah, you know, there's no question.
When 17 gets the ball back, you know where the ball's going. It's going to the other end.
I mean, I can't believe it.
You're already down 18.
Against all odds, 98 yards,
Doesn't matter.
80 yards.
Not tonight.
2 tight ends in the game with Lionel Anderson and Denver Lattimore in the backup. Whittemore sees what NC State lines up with and adjusts the play. Option. Pitches. Clark Green is the first down and more.
Good call.
Picked up 10 to the 45. The first thing you always hear when you watch a game is the quarterback's changing the play. Well, so often, Kirk, they're just adjusting the play. It's check with me at the line of scrimmage.
And that's what they had here. This was an option call all the way. He made the call to the right. He saw what he needed to have. Man-to-man on the outside. That's all you have to do is get a block to the outside just for a second from Simmons to give you enough room for Green to pick up several yards. And North Carolina State sold out up the middle. Kansas with a great call to get it to the outside. NC State very lucky that did not go the distance.
That Clark Green averages 4'6". He's a good-looking sophomore from Tampa, Florida.
Mark Simmons had the nice block, the wide receiver. 1st and 10. Here is Derek Johnson. About 9 yards. Manny Lawson had to come off the end to make the tackle.
That's an interesting thing. We talk about Derek Johnson. We talk about Clark Green, one from Tampa, one from Texas. Mangino told us that he definitely wants to get on Thursday night college football next season for national recruiting. That man knows exactly what he's doing.
Not just any Thursday night football, but Thursday night football on ESPN.
Well, there's only one Thursday night
us
football.
Yes, there is only
But I mean, he's smart.
Stop talking about yourselves.
No, but he's smart.
He
he's smart because he wants to recruit nationally, Mike.
Yeah.
He wants part of the package.
I want to finish one thought about that.
Good. I'll give you time. 2nd and 1, Whittemore looking for space. Keep it, you get the first down. There you go. Got a lot more, too. He's got the 20 and the 15. 21-yard gain. I like this kid. Tough and gutsy.
Oh,
yeah, good kid.
Well, the thing that happens, I don't know how many times we have to talk about man-to-man coverage. And if you can play it, great. If you have exceptional corners and linebackers, great. Here's the problem, is that everybody clears out, and there's nothing but a fairway for Whittemore to run right down the field and get all the way down inside the 20, down to the 15-yard line against that man pressure.
But the problem there was really pad linebacker play. They were not on man-for-man cover. They were just sitting there, and all of a sudden, the guy went right past them. Linebacker play by North Carolina State was not good on that play.
1st and 10, shovel pass to Charles Gordon. Nice dance away from 2 men. Lawson comes up to get him after a pickup of 4. 2nd and 6 coming up. First here is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, the Jayhawks have been a very impressive team in the second half this year. Against UNLV, they were down at halftime and scored 23 unanswered points in the third quarter to win 46-24. Against Missouri, they were down at the end of 3 quarters and came out and dominated, scoring 22 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to beat a very good Missouri team for a 35-14 win. Hold on, folks. These Jayhawks play awfully well in the second half.
And, Doc, that next week, Vegas went to Madison and beat Wisconsin. 2nd down, Whittemore sees it. Oh, he sold it to Green! Nice. Touchdown!
Nice. All right. Brett Favre.
Right, Doug Flutie,
Yeah.
Boston College did that.
Yeah, they're back in this ball game.
Sure are.
That play just kind of epitomizes what Bill Whittemore has meant to this Kansas football team. He's struggling. He's looking for something. He's trying to come up with a play. Sees his man, and the quickest way to get it there is just to option pitch it, which is legal, and a heads-up play by Green to be ready for that. But that is Bill Whittemore right there in a nutshell.
Jared Brooks on to add the extra point. Not very often that both the touchdown pass and the extra point were both end over end. And both were good. 79-yard drive to start the second half. Clark Green out of Tampa comes back to Central Florida and gets KU back in the game. Tampa's Clark Green trying to become one of less than 10 running backs in KU history to hit 1,000 yards. Might not get there rushing-wise, but certainly a big pass reception to make this an 11-point game. Johnny Beck, there he is, out of Kansas City, Kansas, will kick it off. A couple of nice A.J. Davis kick returns tonight. Here he is from the 9. Freshman got hit once and got hit on this kick return as well. They're back inside the 10-yard line. That's 2 good special teams hits in a row. Clark McCracken with the crack on that.
They are cracking on that kickoff coverage team.
They are.
Well, fourth down situation, 4th and 1 on the 44-yard line. And Whittemore runs the option play on an automatic play. And he makes a play on this scramble play right here. But the key play, before it makes this big play, was 4th down, and they gambled, and they had to go, there's the touchdown.
And it's important to remember he gambled deep. I mean, that was still, that was still a lot of work to be done there, but down 28-10, facing Phillip Rivers, you have to take some chances.
1st and 10. Here comes Rivers. Fake to the right, come back to the left to Tremaine Hall. Takes it out to the 20-yard line. Pickup of 9 on 1st down.
See, now it's very important for Bill Young, the defensive coordinator for Kansas, to pin his ears back on his defense, take some chances. You heard Mark Mangino talking to Doc coming back in the second half. We sit back and we play zone, they find the bubble, and Phillip Rivers puts it in there. They need to put more pressure, take some chances. What do you have to lose? You're going to sit back and keep playing zone and let Phillip Rivers dictate things? Take some chances and come after him.
But the problem they have is they can't hit Phillip Rivers. If they're in man coverage, it's 60 yards. Boom, like that first drive, BBB.
I'd rather take a chance and play some man and pressure than sit back and get a slow death.
McClendon keeps his balance, keeps his feet, bowls into the secondary, out to the 38-yard line, a pickup of 18.
It's nice to see him healthy. It's just nice to see him back there, not limp after he gets up from a carry. Anybody that's talked about North Carolina State football has talked about the importance that this man brings to this offense. When you have a physical runner with great balance who's got a nose for the end zone like T.A. McClendon, it just helps the rest of your offensive package, which is built around Phillip Rivers. I thought it was interesting. Noel Mazzoni said, I'm used to an offense that's built around the guy dotting the I. Now it's an offense that's built around the quarterback play.
1st down. We'll swing out to Brian Clark, who is hit hard and taken out of bounds at the 39 by Tony Stubbs. You mentioned Noel Mazzoni being used to having that great running back. Just think about the guys he's had at Oregon State and Ole Miss and Auburn. He had some great running backs, John Avery, Deuce McAllister, the great running backs at Auburn that he had. Now he moved over to NC State.
He said, whoa.
It's an adjustment. He's got the guy. The problem is this is a pass-first offense, and McClendon's lack of health has not allowed them to develop a little stronger run game. 2nd and 8 against a 4-man rush. All day to throw to Kochery across midfield for another 1st down. They're getting close to an average of 10 yards per play as Rivers has hit 12 consecutive passes.
We talked about Chuck Amato and his staff. He has 9 assistant coaches, and they average, listen to this, 30 years of coaching. The average. Hello.
Boy, Manny Diaz kills that.
I mean, Manny, but they got, he's 4 years. They got guys 38 years, 39 years. They average, Kirk, 30 yards in coaching. 9 guys.
ARP staff Chuck put together.
Midfield, 13th straight completion, but this one will lose yardage. Richard Washington brought down by Banks Floodman, the sophomore. Linebacker made the play. You guys mentioned Manny Diaz. He is the linebacker coach in now his 4th year as an assistant coach. He's a guy who we worked with back at ESPN. He was a production assistant on our NFL Countdown shows back in the early and mid-90s. A guy who didn't play college football, worked around the Florida State team, but has become an assistant coach. It's a rare thing to see in this day and age of football, but a great example to those who have the dream to become a college football coach. 2nd and 13 after the loss of 3. A 14th consecutive completion. Kochery turning forward, laid it right on the yellow line, which he couldn't see, but it does mean a 1st down for State.
I want to follow through in that staff situation because I think this is very, very smart on Chuck Amato. When he got this job, he went out and got those assistants. This is where he came from. The Pac-10, USC, Oregon State, the SEC, Arkansas, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Florida State. You know what? All winning schools. Chuck Amato went out and got really good football coaches that know how to win. That's one right there, Noel.
Yep, and he's lost some great assistants in the last 3 or 4 years, and he's replaced them with very good people. Mike Berry, Noel Mazzoni on the offensive side this year alone.
Look at that, guys. 9.5 per snap. Might improve it. Up top. Clark. Touchdown. 4 touchdown passes on the night for Philip Rivers. He could be on his way to a bowl record for touchdown passes in the game.
Well, this is a well-designed play. They've had so many different plays tonight, faking and fake the reverse, fake the TA. Now they're looking at TA for slipping out of the backfield, and right when they do, Brian Clark gets one-on-one coverage and goes right by the safety, Rodney Flower.
Answer.
Yep.
Answer. How many times have you ever told me that?
7 plays it took.
Beautiful job by that quarterback. He answered.
What's his accuracy on the deep ball? Can he throw the deep ball?
And Kiker adds the extra point. Well, he's completed 15 in a row, 27 of 30. The record for touchdown passes in a bowl game by a quarterback is 6. He's got 4.
Uh-oh.
And we got a quarter and a half to go. 35-17. Rivers 4th to Brian Clark. North Carolina State, 6 drives, 5 touchdowns, and 1 missed field goal. 4 of the 5 touchdowns, passes by Rivers. This is a live ball. Randall comes back and gets the muff that Clark Green couldn't handle. And brought down at the 12-yard line by Oliver Hood. Heath Phillips having any fun on his way out here? 4 touchdowns. That is a Tangerine Bowl record. As mentioned, that includes the games that were played down in South Florida when this was the Blockbuster, CarQuest, and Micron PC Bowl.
Best thing you can say about Philip Rivers, besides all the physical abilities and attributes, is his leadership. Starting in his first year because of being around his dad as a high school coach. I don't care who it is on the team. I don't care what their background is. He has a unique way of relating to every single player on the team. Offense, defense, doesn't matter where they're from, what their background is. They all respect him and look up to him like a coach. And it's very rare to find that.
Well, Philip, as Green was stopped by Matty Lawson, Philip spent his formative years kind of elbowing around with his dad on the sidelines, as his dad was a high school coach in Alabama, you know, hanging around the chain guys and hanging around the line and learning plays and learning football from his dad. He said even to this day, when the game plan goes in and there's a new wrinkle, he calls his dad and tells Dad, hey, when you see this play, we're going to run this, and we've put this on top of it. And one of the many special relationships that Philip has with his dad. After the loss of 1, here's 2nd and 11. And Whittemore's throw is deflected, but nobody was at that next level to come up with the interception. Wayne Herndon with the pressure.
Talk about Philip Rivers' dad. You know, his dad, Philip, is a football coach now at Wakefield High School in Raleigh, North Carolina, 10-3. He took over a brand new school, and within 4 years, he's got a 10-3 record at that school. And he told us, Philip Rivers did, the most influential person in his whole life has been his dad. And I'm telling you what, that just makes me feel wonderful. What a great human being that kid is.
Dads and sons can share so much, but they're able to speak the language of football and share the passion for it as well. And as you guys know, that's something special. Here comes some heat off the corner. Another blitz up the middle. Whittemore gets away, tries to make a play, and it's incomplete. Intended for Mark Simmons. So NC State forces one of the rare 3-and-outs here on the night. And we'll see an even more rare punt on the evening.
The timing of that first 3-and-out is not good after NC State scores, and now Kansas has a terrible kickoff return, and to go 3-and-out is not the right time, because you know Philip Rivers is over there not only cheering on the crowd and getting loud for the defense, he's ready to put up another touchdown.
Here comes the second punt of the game for Curtis Ansel. Remember, 91 Matty Lawson, pretty good standing up there. Yeah, he's blocked 4. He might set up a return here, but if they come, 91's usually close to it. Here he comes. He got it! He blocked the punt. As State put their hands on it, it will be NC State ball inside the 20 at the 18-yard line.
Good call, Mike. I tell you what, that's a wonderful call. Give you a stat to back you up, Mike. The most blocked kicks since 2000, North Carolina State 31, Virginia Tech 26. An amazing thing to me, listen to this.
And now 32 with the one here at the bowl.
Listen to this. Since Chuck Amato left. We'll watch Lawson here. Watch it.
How about blocking him? He leads the nation. I mean, you might want to keep an eye on 91. 91 White has a tendency to block punts.
Since Chuck
Somebody block him.
Yo, let me finish.
Go ahead.
When Chuck Amato left, since he left Florida State, Florida State is not in the top 15 teams.
Now that's where it comes full circle.
Yeah, you know, I want to say that.
All the way back to Tallahassee.
That's right.
Somehow.
Since 2000, Florida State is not in the top 15.
So what you're saying is
North Carolina State is #1. That means they miss him at Florida State. That's what I try to get across to you.
In other words, nice job, Wolfpack. But in reality, Bobby, get it in gear down in Tallahassee.
Tangerine trying to make it happen, keeps it alive, takes it inside the 15, and the penalty flag comes in here at the end of the play.
He's a strong receiver. 6'1", 200 pounds, and it's probably the area he's improved the most is picking up yards after the catch.
Our WAC officials and Paul Labine figuring out how to administer this flag. 5-yard face mask will give NC State a first down inside the red zone. So those of you just joining us, it is the 2003 Mazda Tangerine Bowl, the start of Capital One Bowl Week here on ESPN. Those of you tuning in for Monday Night Countdown, usually on ESPN at this time, Stu Scott and the guys are over on ESPN2 getting you ready for the Packers and Raiders at the top of the hour on ABC. Right after us, we'll have Iowa and Texas Tech. Steve Alford against Bobby Knight. So a very good college hoop game to follow. Here, North Carolina State trying to send Phillip Rivers away from Raleigh with another victory. No quarterback has started more games in the history of Division I football. 51st and final start here tonight. It is 1st and 1, actually, with the flag, because the penalty, it stayed first down. So 1st and 1, bust up the middle, Roger Davis, the freshman out of Tallahassee, touchdown.
There's Tallahassee, getting on the board there.
Started with a punt block from Manny Lawson.
I like Reggie Davis coming in there with some fresh legs.
Davis, who was a linebacker and fullback mostly in high school, at 6'2", 220 as a big back, did all of his 24 runs for 82 yards against Duke this year, and powers it in for NC State's 6th touchdown of the night.
Best thing that could happen between now and next year is Reggie Davis drop a few pounds, get a little quicker, and push T.A. McClendon to just have a heck of a 1-2 punch next year at that backfield.
Kiker adds the extra point. So let's see, 7 possessions, 6 touchdowns, and a missed field goal. Right, Reggie Davis carries it in for that one. North Carolina State has scored over 40 on 6 different occasions this year, and the Mazda Tangerine Bowl makes it 7. And we still have 21 minutes of football to play. In the hands of Clark Green. This return comes across the 20 and out to the 22-yard line. Mark Mangino gathered his team during that commercial.
You guys better reach back for everything you have to finish this game. Okay, you understand me? If anybody doesn't understand me, let me know, okay? I'm going to watch this film closely. And I want to see you guys from front to the end and fighting and clawing. That grabbing stuff isn't going to get it. You got to wrap up and tackle. You with me? Let's get it done now, boys. Let's keep going.
National TV down 42-17. He doesn't. Don't quit. Don't embarrass yourself.
Well said.
Whittemore got it out there to his freshman Charles Gordon. He'll take it out to the 40-yard line. Pickup of 17.
And again, that's, Lee, you can talk about this better than anybody. That's the process of trying to take a program that's been a perennial loser and trying to teach them the growing pains of trying to mature and grow as a program. Got them, 2-10 last year, 6-6 this year to a bowl game. But you don't want to get to that bowl game on national TV and embarrass yourself.
Attitude.
Yep.
Remember the key word he kept talking about? Attitude in every single thing they do. positive. He's building a football program the right way.
First down from the 40, the senior quarterback Whittemore gives to Green, who has a nice wiggle here. Got across midfield, almost a chance to break at the distance, a pickup of 13 yards.
I want to get one more point about what Mangino is doing. Also, the fact he's talked about discipline and attitude in every area. He took the grade point average from 1.9 on that football team when he took over to 2.5 now. That's what he's talking about. Every single aspect of the game, Mangino wants perfection.
And you hear so many coaches who have that philosophy talk about not just discipline with football, discipline with your life. Go into class. If I find out you're not going to class, you come see me and we're going to talk. You do it a second time, there are going to be consequences. You do it a third time, and I'm going to call your parents.
Whittemore, great reception down the sideline for Rideau. Brandon Rideau has had a fabulous game here tonight. That's his 7th catch. He's going to get close to about 90 yards here on the night.
He did his best impression of Mike Williams at USC here. The right hand, and he pulls it in to secure the football. And hey, this Kansas offense isn't quitting. They just need to be able to continue to try to punch it in and come up with points. Close to 400 yards now of total offense.
And there's another case of Rideau as a kid from Texas. Remember, we talked to Mark about this Mangino all the time. He said, I got to recruit all over the country. I'll get into that point one more time.
1st and 10. Whittemore on a design quarterback draw. Gets a yard to the 16. Whittemore for Gordon. Broken up by A.J. Davis, who was there on the cover. He's one of several prominent football alums in the Kansas scrapbook. Gail Sayers.
This time, Whittemore was just a hair late, giving Davis enough time with his quickness to come over and recover, because he was beat to the corner by Charles Gordon. But it was nice recovery speed. The ball was thrown a little bit late there.
That A.J. Davis has made a couple of nice plays. An interception. Also, a redshirt freshman from Durham, North Carolina. Looks like a good-looking prospect for the future.
Bright future, yep.
Whittemore cannot get away from the rush. Mario Williams, the freshman All-America, brings him down back at the 22. 4th down. They'll certainly go for it here.
We keep talking about freshmen on this defense, and Mario Williams ended up with 4 sacks at the end of the regular season. There's his 5th. They talk about his athletic ability. You guys, we touched on him earlier, 6'7", 255 pounds. You imagine him as he grows into his body. I mean, allow him to lift weights in the offseason. By the time he's a junior, he is going to be a man.
Well, Lee, I was wrong and you were wrong. They're going to come out and try to get the field goal here to make it 42-20.
Well...
Johnny Beck a shot. He kicked most of the year. Just over 50%, 8 of 15, but he's stronger legged, so he'll try. Let's see what officially Marty Aronoff says is a 40-yarder. And I think it was going sideways as it went through. It still counts for 3. 62 points here tonight. We still have 18 minutes of football left to go. When we come back, more on Philip Rivers. We'll talk to his family, and you'll hear more of why he's such a class act in college football. Quarter number 4 at the 2003 Mazda Tangerine Bowl. Capital One Bowl week beginning with a high-scoring game. As you see, Kansas put up their most points per quarter in the 3rd, and give them a chance here as the 4th starts. It begins with 2nd down and 8. Green throwing up to Whittemore. It was deflected and incomplete. Wanted to go back to the quarterback, so they tried a little trick, but Manny Lawson, the blocked punt earlier, the deflected pass there.
Manny Lawson has had to move down and play defensive end. He's an outside linebacker, kind of a combination guy, but 6'5", 200 and about 15 pounds. You can see he is an athletic guy, but also a pretty instinctive guy to be able to come down and chase that down, realizing the throw was coming back to the quarterback.
Hey, Kirk, it's the 2nd good bowl game he had. He had 9 tackles in the Gator Bowl when State beat Notre Dame last year. Beat him soundly. Needing to get to the 15, Whittemore felt the rush and completed it to Rideau. 8th catch, over 100 yards, and keeps the drive alive.
Like you touched on Rideau a little bit earlier, he has been a player throughout this season coming in. He's one of their top 3 receivers coming in, and tonight he has stepped up and taken advantage man-to-man from North Carolina State. Rideau has not only gotten open, but after he's made the catch, he's been able to fight for big yards. He's not a blazer. He doesn't have great speed, but he is able to pick up some big yards tonight.
And I like the way he focuses, Kirk. He's made a lot of tough catches with guys all over him. That's a good sign of a receiver.
He dropped a lot of balls his first 2 years. He really focused on that here this year. Whittemore throwing it back, deflected and incomplete. They tried a similar thing to what NC State ran earlier. This was a throwback to the left tackle, Adrian Jones.
Again, the size of these defensive ends from North Carolina State, that's what saved this play, because Mario Williams at 6'7" is chasing it from the backside. At the last second, uses every ounce of his wingspan there to knock that down. If he gets that a little bit higher, that would have been really interesting to see him run the last 20 yards.
Second and goal coming up. They just brought Moderick Johnson, the freshman receiver, to be one of the 4. 3 again on the near side. Rideau works up at the top of the screen. Whittemore draw. Runs into the end zone. Kansas still in this one. We'll go for 2 here at 42-26.
Obviously designed here, and Whittemore is a player who I think shows he's kind of a tailback when he gets the football in his hands in this regard. It's the draw here, and he's able to fight his way, weave his way through, and again, because of the man-to-man, it clears out that inside of those linebackers, and he picked up a couple good blocks on the inside for the touchdown.
Bob Whitaker, freshman out of Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, through the key block. They go for 2. They did it 6 times this year. They were 2 of 6. Didn't run one in successfully. We're 2 of 4 passing it. And a timeout is taken here by NC State. So, important play here at 42-26. KU's attempt at the 2-point conversion is deflected and knocked away, so it remains 42-26. So Kansas, who has tried 6 2-point conversions on the year and converted just 2, now 2 of 7. And here was their attempt at going for it.
You can tell here right at the beginning, once the ball went up in the air, it was nice coverage. Now all bets are off. North Carolina State wisely just knocks the ball down. Pat Lowry, the linebacker from the outside, after Reed got to the football, Lowry comes up and just knocks it down and knocks it away from Kansas. If they hit that, I don't know if they could ever stop Phillip Rivers, but still, it would have been a little bit more intriguing.
That was a very good play by Lamont Green not to get pass interference, because what he did is he reached across with his opposite arm to knock it down. It did not go through the offensive receiver, therefore was not pass interference.
Still a 2-score game at 16, 42-26. A.J. Davis brings this one in for the 8.
From the 7-yard line.
Over the 20, room across the 30. And he's spilled down at the 37-yard line by Tony Stubbs.
He's been close 3 times to taking it.
The Bolo Wines game track, those of you might just be coming in, Phillip Rivers has set a Tangerine Bowl record with 4 touchdown passes. One of them coming here in the second half. Meantime, strong game for Whittemore. Over 300 total yards, 240 passing and 70 rushing.
Good player. Glad the country had a chance to see Bill Whittemore in his final game, because he has had a great season. And as Lee, you touched on at the beginning of the telecast, probably one of the better quarterbacks not many people have seen or heard of nationally.
After the first 3 and out of the game, they come back to the play that started the game. Tremaine Hall takes it out to the Kansas 40 and picks up 20 yards.
I think this guy is in the ACC. You talk about a bright future. This guy usually has a tomahawk chop on his helmet because they're used to seeing guys at Tallahassee that can run like Tremaine Hall. And he's got that burst. Once he gets upfield, he knows what to do in the open field. He played running back in high school. Here he's kind of a combination guy. They put him in the backfield. They also line him up at receiver, obviously, quite a bit. But he is only a sophomore and has a tremendous future.
Notice where he's from. Deerfield Beach, Florida. Speed State.
Chuck Amato, he's made it very clear he's going to build his program with kids from Florida.
Fake that play. There's a ton of room. He may go. The angle cut back at the 30 made Gabe Toomey miss at the 25 and took it out to the 20-yard line. There was nobody left on that side. And a pickup of 19 after the pickup of 20.
I don't know if that was the 4th, 5th, or 6th receiver, but Rivers is looking downfield. All of a sudden, whoop, he throws the ball out there. Boy, is that guy good.
Great thing about that play is it does show you about Phillip Rivers. That was an outlet. He came around for a reverse, faked the reverse, and then was looking downfield at the last second. He found Hall off to the right as just an outlet and got it out there for another big game.
NC State 50th play. They're closing in on 500 yards. Rivers will get it here. Another touchdown. That's 5. That's Cotchery.
Well, what else do you say? It's pretty good scheme. His wife is happy. The whole family's happy.
Baby's happy.
Baby's happy.
Grandpa.
He's smiling. He's happy.
Grandpa Bob.
Grandpa Bob made it tonight. He's happy.
There's Grandpa Bob.
Noel Mozzoni, the offensive coordinator. He's got to be happy.
Mike Barry, the offensive line coach.
Did a great job. He's happy.
They've had 480 passes with only 17 sacks. Well, that's amazing. They haven't had a single sack tonight.
The offensive line's done a great job, but this play, the way it's designed, is just exceptional, and Rivers found his open man for the touchdown.
50 plays, 508 yards, and almost 50 points. Mike Davis having great success 2 years ago. They're funny that he went to a school that wears red. Like Rivers, looking long, trying to add to the total. Pass broken up by Remus Johnson. And incomplete.
They're definitely going for the record.
I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Indiana scored like 41 points against Kentucky the other night. Yeah. The lowest in the history of that. I thought it was a misprint.
I was watching the first half, and they're down 5. I had to come back, and they lost 80 to 41. What happened in the second half there? They just got blown away.
Shut it down.
They're not. I don't know if they're real good.
KU fans don't really want to talk basketball right now either after what happened last night. KU was shocked out in Reno by Nevada. They were down 25 points at one point in the second half of that game. Tremaine Hall on the run. Takes it across the 40 and out to the 42-yard line. They struggled the night before, and then they ended up losing by 14 to Nevada.
What color uniforms do they wear?
Ward has it that Jayhawks are struggling hitting the outside shot this year.
That is correct.
Yep,
that's correct. Yeah,
without Heinrich, they're just not able to knock it down.
Nope. Kirk Heinrich doing very well in the NBA. Had a couple of good games with the Chicago Bulls.
Bill Self had problems, the coach here, with wearing red uniforms, right?
They brought out the red uniforms last worn in 1986 in Dallas. But KU fans know they've got a great coach there in Bill Self. He'll do a terrific job keeping that tradition.
Against the offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
We'll see a bunch of KU hoops on big Mondays during the winter. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Guys, one of the humorous things that happened this week happened on the very first day of NC State's practice here in Orlando, Florida. They came back to the hotel, had the hotel do the laundry. Now, anyone knows you don't put red and white in hot water together, but the hotel didn't know. And so for the rest of the week, there's the red jersey. The white ones were pink. Yes, they practiced in pink for 10 days. And believe me, the local media and a lot of fans gave them a lot of ribbing. They're the red and pink from State.
Might start a tradition.
Yeah, and Phillip Rivers must have thrown his sweatsuit. It must have got thrown in the hamper there.
There is Rivers throwing. It is complete to Cotchery out to the 35. You know, it just begs to ask you, do you have any problem with State throwing here?
No.
49-26?
Not for what that guy's done for that school.
So it's okay in a bowl game to run it up?
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. And
it is.
I'll tell you what, it is because of that quality human being, Phillip Rivers. Now, let me tell you something. As soon as he gets 1 yard past that record, I'd pull him out. Absolutely. But give him the record for what that kid's done for this school.
What's more important, him getting the Tangerine Bowl record or being classy and not doing this to Mark Mangino?
Getting the Tangerine Bowl record.
Come on, this isn't the Orange Bowl tonight.
3rd and 2.
It is to these guys.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, you're going against everything you believe in. A guy's running up the score possibly.
So you would take him out now? Wait a minute.
No, but I'd never take him out.
Oh.
You're the guy that always defends the coach on the other side that's getting the heck kicked out.
I mean, it's 10 minutes and 52 seconds. If he gets the record, you take him out to
How
a
about if he
standing
doesn't
ovation.
get the record here and they score 56-26?
Absolutely.
Keep him in.
Well, how much more has he got to go?
59. Oh, he's got a shot. Let's keep throwing.
They can only get 58 on this drive.
I've never seen such anticipation for the Tangerine Bowl passing record. Cliff Kingsbury.
First and 10. That's okay. That's okay.
This could be it right here. Oh.
Pass intended for Brian Clark, and it's incomplete. I got a problem with it. Clark hit the deck hard and just shake it up. They just, don't need to. Clark looking at that left shoulder they may have landed on.
All that weight coming right down. Get Doc down there. See what he thinks.
Clark, who caught a touchdown here earlier tonight. One of the 5 touchdown passes for Phillip Rivers.
Well, so I'm the only one up here that thinks Phillip Rivers should stay in, right?
Your influence on us over the years has really made us see the light.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure.
I'm just trying to follow along here because for the last 5, 6 years we've been doing this. Anytime a team starts to run up the score,
right,
you're quick to jump in for that coach.
Absolutely.
You never embarrass one of your colleagues.
Exactly. This situation is an exceptional athlete who started 51 straight games. He's got a chance to set his all-time record. I know it isn't much to you because it's the Tangerine Bowl, but it is to him.
Doesn't care about individual records.
Phillip Rivers.
Noel Mazzoni did.
Phillip Rivers cares about it more than he lets you know because you know why? He's a competitor. And any competitor who wants to go down in the record books, and I don't care who he is. Right. In my opinion, you ought to let him throw till he gets 1 yard more than the record. And I'll tell you what, in my opinion, I know Mangino would understand.
See, I don't have a problem with it, but I never have. But my man here has always had a problem with it, but this is the asterisk to the rule.
But wait a minute.
This makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about running up the embarrassing. I'm talking about getting an individual like that guy, Phillip Rivers.
Right.
And I think Jerry Punch said it. No man in the history of North Carolina State has probably done more for a school than that man.
Of course not. But I'm just saying, I don't know what the Tangerine Bowl record's going to do to make him. I agree, call him out, let him come out of the game. But I don't know what the record tonight's going to do to make him go down in the. He's broken every record in the history of North Carolina State football. Except the bowl record?
Yeah, except this one.
All right.
It is a 23-point game with 10 minutes. And people will tell you stranger things have happened with huge comebacks, although you don't get the sense of that here tonight. But you could run the ball and eliminate that. And they're coming after him with the heat as well. Kansas should. Washington hit out of bounds and a flag for a late hit as he came out of bounds. Pick up a 16 there. And that's the only problem that all this leads to. If I'm Kansas, I'm ticked. So I'm going to send more pressure. I'm going to try to knock Rivers down. If you're going to throw, I'm going to try to hit you.
Right.
And then
Worst thing you can do.
But I understand. But if I'm then, I'm annoyed.
Yeah. But see, at 23 points, 10 minutes to go in the game, I don't have a problem with Phillip Rivers being in the game. I was just trying to understand. Again, Lee has been typically very defendant of the coach on the other side. I was just trying to understand why this time it's a little bit different.
Different strokes for different folks, different situations. In this place, I think Phillip Rivers should be allowed to set the record for the Tangerine Bowl most yards.
The bad news here is that 15-yard penalty is going to hurt him because now he's got to come back to the next series. Now, what you need now is a sack. You got to get a sack or a 15-yard penalty yourself. Knock it back, you need 35 yards.
There's a run with T.A. McClendon.
See, look at this.
Takes it into the end zone.
Now what?
Touchdown.
Now he's got to play another series.
Now they're up 30. All right.
They're closing in on the most points ever scored in a bowl game by a team here at 55-26.
Hope Fowler's keeping track of this at home. Taking notes at home here on this exception to the rule.
Jack,
you think he's still in studio? He's on. Oh, he's got raps tomorrow night, so he's staying in town tonight. He's not on 84 heading west yet.
Kiker adds the extra point. It's the 8th touchdown for State here tonight. 56-26. When we come back, some of what the players did during their week here in beautiful downtown Orlando. It includes citrus fruit. Change at quarterback. Bill Whittemore stays in at quarterback, I should say. No change for KU, and he gains 9 yards. Here's Jerry.
Guys, one of the unique promotions that Tom Mickle and Matt Sign and company used here this weekend was selling their fans souvenir bowl patches here, the Mazda Tangerine Bowl. Now, with this patch, if you bought it, you got discounts on golf, dining, entertainment. Lots of merchants around Central Florida were giving you a discount. Now, the proceeds from this patch will go to help a lot of charities in the area, primarily a lot of the underprivileged children in Central Florida. So what a great idea. A souvenir bowl patch to bring home from the Mazda Tangerine Bowl, and also helping some of the youngsters that need help here in Central Florida. Michael?
Yeah, so many of these games, Jerry, do so much for their community as well. Whittemore is knocked down by Tuck as we're inside of 3 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Well, it will get tougher for Mark Mangino and company next year as they line up the Gatorade over on the NC State bench. The good news of this year was they didn't have to play Oklahoma and Texas. The bad news is Oklahoma and Texas come back on the schedule next year. They'll play at Nebraska and at Oklahoma, and then play at home against K-State, Texas, and Colorado. Whittemore incomplete, intended for Rideau, and a penalty flag comes in with 2:22 left.
Kansas took a big step this year from 2-10 to 6-6 and just getting to a bowl game. If they want to continue to grow, the one area that's obvious that they need to get better and faster is defense. To compete in the Big 12, you have to have more depth, and you have to have more speed than they have right now, and that's all about recruiting. And I think Mark Mangino realizes he's got to get better on that side of the ball.
Well, our two headline players are our Capital One players of the game. Philip Rivers, eye-popping numbers in his final game as a college player, and Bill Whittemore in his college finale, also some very solid numbers. They are our Capital One players of the game. Did you guys vote on that? Were you asked?
No.
I think it was such a no-brainer they didn't bother to ask.
Yeah, I think that was easy.
Took it in their own hands. Rivers has been a MVP of the postseason game for NC State in each of his last 3 years. Clark Green is stopped there. 2:15 to go.
Speaking about Kansas, and the fact that we thought that they needed to be on television more, the reason why we want to be on television, Mark was telling us, and Gino was telling us that even Oklahoma, with the Stoops brothers and that youngster on there, they couldn't get kids from Oklahoma to, Ohio,
Pennsylvania,
to
Ohio,
remember, they couldn't get them. He needs a game all over the country on Thursday night college football next to sell his program all over the country. I think that's a smart move, you guys.
Well, you know what? With the Big 12 television package, many of their games are regionally broadcast and not on a full national basis. They've had several games where they get blacked out, like, Herbie lives in Columbus.
Yeah, you get a coach's show, or, the Blue Jackets.
Right. And some of those games get blacked out. You don't get to see them with other local games on.
You're in Detroit, right? So you have, could
Red
be
Wings
the Red Wings
like
doing a preseason show, or a number of things that could black it out.
That's right. The last time that they were on full national TV was a game against Notre Dame in '99.
Yeah.
Before tonight, their last full national game was the Aloha Bowl, Christmas Day 8 years ago. So while you're on regionally, to beat Kansas and go out and recruit a kid from California, a kid from Pennsylvania, you need to be on TV on a full national basis, and that's what they hope to accomplish here down the line. So we know with the catch out to the 48.
So we've got the answer.
Yes?
Build Mark Mangino some new facilities to help him recruit.
Exactly.
And let him get a couple non-conference games, possibly on Thursday night, ESPN college football.
Yeah. Look at that.
A Big 12 record for a game for the most yards from both teams, as we are, at 1,117 yards? Something I can't calculate. Breaks the record from the 78 Liberty Bowl. This should be the final. Well, it's 4th and 5. We may have a change of downs. But, gentlemen, Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Travel safe. See you and to everyone at home. And Doc as well, and our entire crew. Brian Carter producing with us tonight. Mike Schwab, our director. See you next Monday night from San Antonio. Whittemore puts one up for grabs. It is intercepted. Run out the clock. Thank you. This game is done. Will it be a final score? Gordon makes the tackle on Garland Heath. There goes the most impactful player NC State football's ever had. And Philip Rivers leaves the MVP of the Mazda Tangerine Bowl, 56-26. For all of us, thank you for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.